Hey, greetings, dear Cancer. This one is for you. It's your August 2019 report, and it is from Tarot Illumination with Love. Thank you very much. We're going to come at it from multiple angles. I'm going to start with a little bit of the astrodoodles here and some highlights of the month, and then we'll get into the cards. If you've been here before, you just want to fast forward to the cards, fine, okay? But I'm trying to give a broad spectrum reading here. Also, you know the routine, watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Most people who watch these channels now, that's the routine. And it works. It's actually really functional. Let me just go, cards are already shuffled in advance, but I'm going to the last second so that you're a witness. Let me just show you some of that stuff I was talking about earlier. This is the Tarot Illumination notes for the month. I'm just going to scroll them through very slowly for you, and you can check them out for yourself. I'm only going to focus on a couple of the highlights that I marked out here, and we'll come to those in your astrodoodle in a moment. Right at the very, very beginning, July 31st, August 1st, we have that huge Leo new moon, 8 degrees. It's a stellium, okay? Venus, Mars, Sun, and Moon all at once for those few days. So it's a really powerful way to kick off the month, all right? The Sun will already be in Leo by that time, but, it's still a very important marker day, okay? Next off, 2 weeks later, we have the full moon in Aquarius, okay? 22 degrees, August 15th over here. Let me show you, okay? So here are your dates, August 1st, August 15th, and the next date, an important date here would be the 23rd when the sun moves into Virgo. And at the 31st and the 30th, it's just a huge Virgo stellium here. Luckily for you, Cancer, that can be very favorable. So I just kind of left it as neutral there for you. Depends on you how you handle these things, okay? Let me go to your chart. This is not a real chart, okay? This is an astrodoodle compiled from multiple data, and I just squash in the highlights that seem most relevant for my purposes to give you a decent reading here. So let's just say this is the Cancer astrodoodle. That's you. I put you on the horizon. If you've seen astrology charts before, then you might recognize the circle here. This would be you on the horizon. This would be the house of the significant other, the seventh house of relationship. And we have a whole ton of other stuff going on. I'm just going to focus on the lunar things and the big stellium here. So Cancer, you probably know more than anybody about what happened in July with the eclipses, because we're still coming out the other side of it, and those eclipses reverberate for months and months and months to come. And it's not over, okay? There's another big one coming in January 2020. And the opposition coming at you from Capricorn is still ongoing, okay? We have Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde over there in your seventh house of primary relationships, okay? I'm not talking about the lovey-dovey stuff over here in your fifth house, okay? This is Scorpio energy. I'm talking about like serious, committed, chosen, formal relationships, like a spouse, or even like a live-in partner, or like a business contracted partner, or someone where it's a chosen relationship for better or worse. They call this the house of open enemies. They also call it the house of marriage, because sometimes they are one and the same, especially if you've noticed in the United States the divorce rate is extremely high. So anyway, here's the thing. You just came out of those eclipses. So there's a bit of relief, and it's going to soften up a little bit, but you're still dealing with a lot of opposition over here in the seventh house. Very deep, profound changes happening in that area of your life, probably expressed through a significant other who's going through profound changes that impact your sense of self and identity. Like, who are you now as a result of the monumental changes that are happening in a significant other? Okay, let's get on with it. Right at the very beginning, we've got the Leo new moon over here, okay? And this is in your second house of money, stuff, value, values, worth, self-worth, your talents, your resources, all of that. So it's new starts and new beginnings here. So you might feel an upsurge in that area of your life, like, oh my gosh, what are my gifts? What am I supposed to do with my gifts? What are my talents? Maybe do an appraisal. What are my resources? Are you optimizing your resources? And you might discover a lot more 2 weeks later when you get to the Aquarius full moon, when it lands in your eighth house of other people's money, okay? The house of opposition here at the full moon. So the emphasis on relationship is going to be strong over here. So I'm hoping you will pay close attention to what happens in your love life and in your relationships around this new moon and around this full moon, okay? Later, of course, we're going to go through the whole month. So that's halfway through the month. The full moon is over there on the 15th. So please pay attention to this energy in the eighth house here, the energy of deep soul merger, the energy of shared resources, where you merge your resources with another, and another is merging their resources with you. Kind of like what happens when you split and join DNA and when people are getting pregnant, okay? It's that profound, it's that serious. So it does affect you, and it's a very important part of your life. Let's fast forward to the end of the month, very tippy end, where the sun is already in Virgo. But look at this, right at the tippy end, we have another new moon in Virgo. It's a huge stellium, and it's just all clustered up here in your third house, communications. I think of that as like your day-to-day functionality in life and world. You know, so much of our day-to-day life now, especially in like so-called advanced economies, is dependent on these like hyper advanced communication systems now. So uh, new starts and new beginnings here. I would say because the Virgo energy is very harmonious with you, you're very lucky. This is going to be really nutritious, very beneficial for you, and you should resonate very strongly with this and perhaps find an improved ability for you to be a transceiver. It's, to me, that's a very important concept here on this channel because we're always transmitting and receiving energy, just like a smartphone, okay? So what is happening for you? We're talking about new upgrades here, new starts and new beginnings, refining, clarifying, purifying, improving your communications, your daily practices in business, the business of life, okay? One more thing I want to add is I'm adding a few dates here in case you're really interested. You are the moon sign, you are ruled by the moon. So I've highlighted particular dates that might be critical for you in terms of sensitivity, or they're on the angles here. So first off, August the 5th, the moon is over here in Libra. That's a hard square to you. Over here, August 11th, moon is in Capricorn, full opposition to you. Over here, August the 19th, moon is going to be in Aries, hard square to you. Over here on the 26th, moon is going to be conjunct with you. Okay, so those are critical days. It's only like a couple of days at a time around those dates, but you might feel very, very tweaked, very sensitive in those at those moments. Okay. The other thing is that this energy here, all these little blue bits, excuse me, are really sweet for you because the Pisces energy that's going on, this Virgo thing, is very harmonious for you. So I'm hoping you're really going to get a lot out of August, especially towards the end. Okay. Let's have a look. I'll put this aside. We can come to that later if we need to. All right. I mentioned earlier that we're going to use the Tarot Illumination Crucible spread. Or maybe I didn't tell you. Anyway, if you're a regular, just fast forward. If you're new, please hear me out. The Crucible spread, we designed it to understand the concept that there is you, Cancer, there are significant others, and then there's a third entity, especially when it's one-on-one. There's you, the other, and the third thing called a relationship. It's a completely separate living thing, especially in marriage. Okay, especially in one-on-one, you and your spouse, you and another, you and your boyfriend, you and your girlfriend, you and your live-in lover. Those are really serious types of relationships because they're typically chosen relationships as opposed to the relationships that you don't choose, like with your parents and so on and siblings. So you'll see what happens in a moment when we actually start pulling out the cards. I would invite you to bring in your invisible friends. Cross hands over heart, take a few breaths, and just settle in and enjoy this as much as you can. Over here, it's like I watch a Netflix movie and I'm trying to narrate the whole thing in real time for you. So it's a little bit trippy as we go along. Okay, singles, you can actually watch this if you really want to, but you have to allow for the laws of attraction in action. Okay, what are you radiating and what is being bounced back to you over time eventually? Okay, so let's do this. Let's bless this deck. Bless every single card in the deck, okay? Bless you, Cancer. Bless her illumination, the whole channel, all the technology that we can even do this. Okay, this is you. What are you radiating, okay? Think of yourself like a smartphone, sending and receiving signals, okay? You own this energy. Over here, what about the other, okay? What about deep inside of you? What about deep inside of the other? And at the core itself, the relationship, okay? So can you see this is the crucible? This is a bowl type structure, and that's what's designed to withstand the intense alchemical reactions that happen in a relationship, just like they happen in a laboratory when they use a crucible. So this is a living thing, and you own this. So it's not a couples reading, but we're allowing for the co-star in the stories here, okay? So you could even think of this as a potted plant and what is growing here, okay? Over here, I'm going to pull out another card. This will be what I call the weather, and it's circumstantial energy. It's the energy that's out there around you, permeating your whole world. I think of it as the planets. As you know, I like to blame things on the planets. And it could be anything, religious influence, financial, career, health influences, whatever. I just think of it as weather, profound energy that impacts you. Let's start. Okay, so you have the Five of Swords here. So you might be in a state, and I think this is very much to do with the Leo Aquarius axis that's happening here, where you are realizing there is a lot of stake in terms of value and values. I'll just show you that axis again. Okay, because this is going to be really lit up for you this month. The new moon right at the beginning and the full moon right in the middle, and then towards the end of the month you'll have greater clarity. But I think as we start off, I think the weather around you is showing you that there's an indication. There's a lot of extremely frustrating energy that you're having to deal with right now, unwinnable battles where no matter how hard you try to prove yourself or correct situations or create balance and integrity and truth and honesty in your life, in your world, it's almost like you're wasting your time because you're dealing with uh, energies that can't be persuaded. It's, I would say this is extremely frustrating energy. So the way it looks over here is that you might be full of boundless talents and gifts and resources, but out here in the outer world, the way you are appreciated and understood and valued is a whole other story. And that to me looks extremely frustrating. It's almost like, what can I do? What am I supposed to do? I have so much to offer. Doesn't anybody understand? The Aquarian energy is very unique. It's very high frequency, and sometimes it's beyond the frequencies for a lot of people to understand. And so that might make it feel like you're like, maybe you're ahead of your time, Cancer. You're doing this, you're doing that, and just like nobody seems to get it. Nobody's valuing who you are, what you do, what you put out. And even if you try to do something really conscientious about it, it's almost like wasting your time. And that can happen, that same dynamic can happen in relationships because uh, that second, eighth house energy uh, would be experienced in the context of a relationship dynamic. You with business, you with business partners, you with a significant other, an associate with you, and anything out there that would be the energy of other people's resources, other people's energies. So it looks very frustrating. Over here, what about you, yourself? Okay. So with the Four of Swords, my feeling is that like there's nothing I can do. I don't know what to do, so I am going to go within and I'm going to try and heal myself from within rather than looking for solutions from without, because it's like you've probably already learned and experienced that with this energy of futility out here, you're wasting time and energy. In other words, uh, you've already figured out that it's futile to waste huge amounts of time and energy on things that can't be fixed at this moment in time. Okay. Now, all this will change, especially when you come into September. I think the vibrations will change because that Virgo energy is really going to be very wholesome for you. So I see August as kind of as a wake up, like almost like really shocking, like rude, kind of insulting kind of wake up, like uh, how you are loved and appreciated and valued by others and or not. And so you might as well, instead of wasting energy on trying to solve things that can't be solved at this moment, uh, you're taking a break. You're focusing on self-healing, literally withdrawing. It doesn't mean you're denying the rest of the world your life, your light, or anything like that. But deep here, over here, Cancer energy, especially when we look at the context of relationship, I don't know if you can see this here. I always notice this on the Four of Swords, how uh, people are relating here in ways that uh, like you can't relate any further between you and another until you do your own self-healing on the inside first. So it might be very difficult. To me it feels like you might have to go into these self-healing states where you're actually trying to find ways to deal with this extreme frustrating energy, like finding avenues to forgiveness, finding avenues to blessings, finding avenues to healing others, okay, despite the futility. All right, let's keep going. What about the other? Okay, or others, let's just say. To me, it looks like they're on a completely different cloud, okay? And they might be actually really enjoying the energy that you're putting out. To me, this looks like a really powerful healing energy, very, very serene, like you are deliberately retreating from the front lines of life and the battlefronts of life, setting down the swords, of battle, so to speak, having to use your brain at 111% all day, every day, and instead taking all that energy and focusing it on healing thyself, healing others. And guess what? It looks like others are benefiting greatly from your energy. You might not being you might not be getting reciprocal energy in return. You might not be enjoying the bounty that others are enjoying, but it looks like there are a lot of people out there who I think, especially maybe one or two significant others, who are really, really enjoying the energy that you're radiating here. This is a very strange reading, Cancer, but I'm just telling you how the story is coming out for me. So with the Nine of Cups, it's just that I think it's not just a single individual. I think there's multiple individuals that are so happy that you're here in this life, in this world, with that really powerful energy here and the second house. Okay, all that Leo stuff's really powerful light, powerful energy that's coming out of you, radiating like a beacon. And I think that's what's happening. You're going internal and you're turning it into a healing, like a healing frequency, and it's being sent outwards. Um, it's like but it's invisible, and so they don't know it's happening, but it is happening. And so there are people who I think are benefiting and appreciating your energies without even knowing what it is or where it's coming from. They're just enjoying the benefits, and that sounds kind of like a very absurd way to handle the energy of frustration, but it looks like that's what you're doing. It's just, in other words, if this is how it's going to be, then I'm going to go within. I, the Cancer, I'm going to go within and I'm going to heal myself. And as I heal myself, I heal others, okay? It's like one of the definitions we have for love on this channel. If you really want to get into it, love is the willing decision to deliberately go above and beyond your comfort zone in order to specifically foster, nurture, develop your own spiritual evolution, which from there fosters the spiritual love and growth and evolution of your loved ones, a significant other, or perhaps many people. So it's a very odd reading, okay? But that's the storyline I'm picking up here. So it's almost like you've prepared yourself not to receive much in the way of fair exchange or gratitude, but they certainly are enjoying it. Over here, deep down inside of you, to me it looks like there's a deep part of you which is so frustrated by all of this. Looks so extremely painful and frustrating that there's a part of you that is wishing to move away from it all and perhaps look for a new way of being that is much more serene, much more peaceful to you and for you, and leaving all of this stuff behind. Because if it's an unwinnable situation, then what's the point in expending more and more energy for zero outcome and fair exchange? Because you do deserve a life, Cancer. And if you are considering, like at the soul level, it looks like you might be really considering the idea of packing your bags and moving on, some way, shape, or form. It doesn't mean you're abandoning these people or the ones that you love, because you can love people in all sorts of shapes and forms. You don't have to share the same bed or be making out or whatever. Love, I'm talking on a very, very broad spectrum perspective. The love of one human for another, the love of one human for humanity. Okay, and if it's not working for you in your environment, in the weather is really not conducive for you, it's totally understandable at the soul level that you would be thinking like relocation of heart, body, mind, heart, and soul, and only bring with you that which you love and leave anything and everything behind that is dysfunctional, because you don't need it. You don't need it anymore, Cancer. You've done so much already. Look, okay? Over here, what about the others? Okay. Deep down inside, okay. So with the Hermit card here, my feeling is like the way your energy is panning out here, it's very beneficial for others or a significant other, and that's kind of on you know, the front lines, the sizzle, like what you would see in other people or in a significant other. But deep down, well, I think what's happening is that your energy here is actually, it's almost like this is such a bizarre reading. It's like this energy here is almost like forcing this energy here, which leads to a really good outcome here for others, even though there might be zero appreciation or understanding. And what happens is this is like a pulse, okay? Like a healing pulse that you're putting out there. And it's very beneficial for them. And what's happening at the deep soul level, it's like they are realizing that their growth and spiritual evolution uh, as an individual is happening for them. They are learning how to go deep within, just the same way that you're going deep within here. This is a different way of going deep within. This is conscious and deliberate and chosen here, almost out of necessity. Theirs, I think, is unwitting. I think they ended up in the situation where the benefits that they receive from your energy puts them at a soul place where they're getting a chance to discover their true nature, and they get their own bearings on life in ways that they've never had or ever enjoyed before. There's no lighthouse cards here exactly the way I would normally see this, but it feels to me like you are nurturing through a healing vibration here the happiness and growth and evolution of a significant other or others in such a way that it, let's say, fosters a deeper current of energy about their own journey on soul evolution. And this could not happen for them without you. Without you. So to me, it looks like you're a real gift. Like they are the recipient of the gift and you are the gift. The energy that you are radiating in this very, let's say, sacrificial manner, in this way that is perhaps unappreciated or undervalued or not even understood or not even apparent, they are the beneficiaries, and it's very profound and deep and valuable for them. Okay, let's have a look at the core here. Okay, so with the Ace of Wands here, my feeling is that by the end of the month, this will make sense and you will get through what we were just talking about, and things will start to turn around, whereby let's just say the suffering that you've had to go through here and the deliberate withdrawal and the deliberate focus on self-love and self-healing and the deep understanding that you're gonna have to move on some way, shape, or form or other, like a serious, some kind of serious upgrade in your life, in your lifestyle, which would make sense because of the Virgo energy here. But I do believe that this Ace of Wands is very strongly connected with the new moon Virgo right at the very tip of the end of the month. This is very nutritious energy for you, where you'll have a much clearer understanding of new starts, new beginnings, new passion, new motivation, new desire, new sense of courage to kickstart your life again, but I'm seeing it in a new setting, a new kind of environment, a new kind of location. You know, whatever that means for you, Cancer. And it's really, really strong. It's very beneficial for you. Now, what happens with the others, it's almost like a completely different story. Let's not worry about them at the moment. Let's worry about you. Remember, this is not a couple's reading. It's all about you. We're just allowing for the co-star in the story here. Let's have a look. Okay, see, this is beautiful. Okay, Cancer, we have the Fool card here. So my feeling is that this is almost, this whole thing here is almost like a moon launch, a rocket launch, where you have to go through these intense testing periods. Like, you know how astronauts do? They go through ast astronomical amounts of training to be astronauts. And then when they actually get on those rockets and launch into space, it's a mind-blowing experience. But it only takes about 8 minutes from takeoff to get into full orbit place out in outer space, about 250 miles up, where the space station is next door to the Terra Lumination headquarters. So I think that's what's happening here. This Leo Aquarius axis, this thing that's on putting so much pressure on you here with value and values, and it's triggering this story that I felt over here. It's actually part of the preparation process for you to launch a new life, new starts and new beginnings in how you conduct the day-to-day business of your life. Okay? But it looks like it might be new locations that have very like diffuse or unpredictable, let's say, parameters at this point in time. Pisces is up here, Neptune is in Pisces up here, and when the moon is in Pisces up here, you might feel it like a very strong intuitive pull, new locations, new lands, new people, new doctrines, new horizons to discover, okay? But it starts from here very close to the root of your chart. So it takes you into, I'm not saying you're separating, you know, or breaking up or something like that, but you could say this even as a spiritual journey. It takes you into new lands, new starts, and new beginnings where you can almost completely start your whole life again. Literally like a complete life reboot. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm very jealous, okay? I'm really excited for you, Cancer. I'm looking forward to hearing how the story folds out over the next few months, actually over the next 9 months or so, because you still have another eclipse season in January 2020, and that's going to be resonating from the eclipse that we just had, okay? So I see this, uh, you can read this if you want as a very specific relationship reading, but I'm also seeing it as a much bigger reading. So I hope that makes sense to you. I think this is beautiful. This part is very much, it's very sacrificial. It's very Piscean here, okay? It's the energy of divine love that's going on here, that you are radiating, Cancer, but it is by choice. And I think it's part of your evolutionary gateway, the evolutionary steps into moving forward to taking your frequencies higher than ever before, which is ultimately even better for others and your loved ones, okay? So as frustrating as that energy might be, to me, it ultimately looks like it's really good for you. Okay, I'm going to pull a card. This is going to be a little oracle card, all right? It's the Romance Angels, and it's the only deck of hers that I have, but please trust the process and allow me to pick a little farewell card for you, and that'll add a bit of a nuance to the story here in case you're concerned about love and romantic issues, okay? I love doing this stuff for you guys, Cancer. I really do. I wish I could do it all day, every day. but it's enough just to try and get these monthly reports out, quite honestly. So if you love this and you can benefit from this, please subscribe. And when you subscribe, click the bell. It's really, really important. Clicking the bell is so important now. All right, give me a second here. And thank you, all of you who are already subscribers and visitors on the Sunday Night Lives shows and the Wellness Wednesday shows. I love hosting those things for you, and I'm hoping we can do more and more things like that. This is your card, okay? Keep an open mind, okay? Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. It's almost humorous. Okay, let me go to the book here. All right, it says here, this is for you, Cancer. It says here, the romance angels sent you this card as a reminder to stay open to the possibility of your soulmate appearing or having appeared in a form that may differ from what you expect or ever imagine could happen. This is especially true if you tend to date a certain type of individual. You drew this card to help you discover your soulmate. This card may signal that you've already been introduced to this person, or maybe they're already with you, but have overlooked his or her romantic potential at a deeper level. Take the time to get to know the various individuals that you meet, even if there isn't an initial attraction. At the very least, you will learn more about yourself and may make a new friend. I think this is highly relevant to the Fool card over here for when you teleport into your new virtual world or your new actual world. Either way, you'll have a chance to like see people in whole new ways. And maybe if you're already, let's say, attached, see them in a whole new way that you had never imagined or allowed for before. Because all of us live within certain limitations of our own perspective. So it's a very strong message. Keep an open mind, okay? Thank you very much, Cancer. I hope you get something out of that. I'm going to say goodbye. I'll do it properly. Just don't go away yet. I want to just say hello because I'm trying to become more familiar. Hello, this is Terra Lumination. Thank you for being here. I hope you get something out of this. Spread it around. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. I forgot to mention that, I think. And it's very hot here, by the way. And do the subscribes. It's very, very important. And when you subscribe, please click the bell. It's super, hyper important. Otherwise, you won't know anything. The way YouTube works now, if you subscribe, absolutely nothing happens. It just clicks. It says, oh, new subscriber over here. That's it. Okay, so you have to click the bell, okay? I'm not going to go into a long story about why this has changed, but that's how it is. Click the bell. Thank you so much. See you in September. Bye-bye. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.